Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Let's continue. So we're in the base and we're leaving, I guess, by a slightly different path this time than what we were taking, as far as we're not going out the window. Instead it feels like that at some point we might be able to go through this. And there's no zoom actually for a like inside the building map. Wow, that was an awkward fall. Certainly. And this is where we saw other runners practicing. So we're going back down this direction, which was where we kind of started from the street level. Is that we worked our way up through that. And I guess there's a slight question about whether it would ever make sense to go back down all the way to this area. So you have like this camera, and notice that there's this white reticle in the middle of the screen. It's been there probably the whole time. That was for motion sickness. I don't think there's actually a way to turn off the reticle. See, video. No, I don't think there is anything. I didn't realize there were so many settings too. They're just all set by default to pretty high resolutions. So yeah, unless there was a reticle center cursor, I guess we could turn that off. But I think I'd prefer to just leave it on, because for the most part I don't even recognize that it's there. I am very confused though as to how this path is like this, because I feel like when we first started the game we came through this area, and then we came up this section. If we didn't come through this area, then we must have come through this area, which, yeah, I guess there's a bit of a question there as to if we go all the way back this direction, will we find anything as far as like data links or collectibles, or are we just wasting our time? Like, this is more than likely a tutorial area. I am interested though to see just how far back you can really go. Like, we are not that far from the ground and the roads. Notice how they've put kind of a wall there just so that you can't jump down. Alright. Where does this actually put us in the map? Very far away. We'll just fast travel back to the base after this. Yeah, we're not seeing any data links. Remember, we were being chased by people. And there's a person here, so at some point we're getting back to this. I imagine that was the jump that is the stopping point, and you can't go any further in that direction. Although, kind of feels like there might be a way to get into this caged area. But if you did get into the caged area, I don't know what you would accomplish from that. Oops. And you immediately slide off from there. So you'd think that there would just be like an initial dash or something around that. But whatever. So now it may be quite difficult for the loading to decide where it wants to load me. Yeah. There must have been something more to the story where we went upward to come downward. Because we were on the ground floor at the beginning. This is an area with a lot of junk around it, so like this could have been a particular area designed so that it was very linear and there was a lot of visual elements you could see while running by without having to really be too concerned with the fact that there's a lot of visual elements that you're not going to actually interact with.
I've sent you a copy. You can use it to get through the fans at Zephyr. Try it out and come meet me. We have a situation.
If there was going to be any collectible, I'd almost assume that it would have to be down over here. And it would be something small. You can see there's like paint remover and other items. Well, it's kind of hard to even see what those other items are, these sticks. Then you have these squares that look like they could be pulled up. Yeah, but I'm not finding any secrets, and I suspect there just aren't any. But yeah, this is kind of a great example of cramming extra stuff in an area you probably won't spend a lot of time with. And
nice one. Thanks, Nomad. I'm on my way.
Thought you'd like it.
So you just gave us the disruptor at that point, and you immediately run into this guy. A lot of these characters straight up look like they are maybe the same skin being reused. I wouldn't be surprised if these are like fake AI characters or even real world players that have just logged in and then are AFK for some silly reason. Or if they're stand-in players for AFK players. Interesting, there was a frame drop at that point when I did that run. It dropped from about 60 frames to 30 frames, and I noticed that. And while I have been having some slight problems with my computer, it has not been frame drops. So I would suspect what just happened there is that the game loaded in a different section of the map that it wasn't expecting to load in as far as smoother streaming transitions. And of course you want to run through all of this if you're going to play correctly, but it also wouldn't really hurt to look around.
Slowly building their rep. Guess that's changing now, huh?
So here we have a run that I think would probably take us in a different direction. I don't know if I want to really jump through that. Can also hear somebody talking on probably a TV. the massive amount of noise pollution that giant billboards could create certainly would be annoying. And I'm barely trying here to land. I haven't warmed up my fingers at all. If I thought that this would actually go in the direction I wanted to, I would potentially consider going further down this direction. Interesting, we're going to start to find security chips hidden behind gates. And we may see Kruger doors here as a indicator that you won't go through those doors. Because you're just afraid to. Anyways. You can't completely deny the fact that there is a kind of opposite mentality here. Boy, that's a lot of people walking around. And there's a security guard. It is definitely a different mentality than most games, in that they want you to run through the game and move incredibly fast.
Control, we've spotted.
Okay, that one's done. Notice how that forced you to get a grid link, just in case you hadn't collected any grid links up until this point. That, in fear of them being potentially a bad thing. I could certainly see people thinking grid links were bad, or that they were some kind of like stamina refilling element that wouldn't respawn.
Alright, I'm in position. I'll wait for you here.
Again, I can hear somebody through like air conditioner.
Oh, hey Noah. Faith is helping me out with something. Again? Now what? Sorry, but the less you know, the better. It's for a good cause, though. I promise.
I
I swear, I'm running a goddamn zoo. Come talk to me when you're done, Faith.
definitely seems like there's different factions or different groups of people that have slightly friendly alliances, but kind of no clear structure to who's in charge and making all the calls. You have to really hit this straight on or you'll miss it. I don't think it's worth it to try and go and get that at the moment. Yeah, it's gonna feel very stupid to have wasted an upgrade point getting the ability to roll out of a land, and if I'm just gonna awkwardly fail to ever land. I suppose since the story had some rising action, there's another guy with us finding this Kruger data drive. It wouldn't hurt to have one or two missions that were kind of side missions, even though they're main story missions, to just have some falling action. What I think does hurt, though, is that we know there are collectibles, and because we know there are collectibles, there's just this constant desire to look for collectibles, which means we're going to spend too much time. Oh, can I not work my way through there? Alright, well then we'll just climb up this. Jeez, what is the right way to get up here? You can't climb up this slanted path. So, can I drop down to get to a ledge? Or am I supposed to try and run up to get higher? Or am I supposed to climb up to get even higher here? It might be a case where you have to go all the way around. This doesn't seem like this is a hackable billboard at the moment. Maybe it is later. I'm definitely feeling some awkwardness around climbing up ladders and poles. I feel like that technology is not as well designed as it should have been, or well improved compared to the first game. Oh, oops. That wasn't even the way I was supposed to go. So here we go all the way around again. I guess we got lucky that that didn't set me in crazy directions far away. I could imagine sliding down a rope and that leading to some major issues. So there must be some, like, some way to either jump up higher or jump through. Right. Like, the idea of a quick U-turn or something in the air doesn't feel like that's something that could happen. Maybe it's this way. I guess it is probably this way. And all that did was get me up here. I thought there was a collectible briefcase up here. So that was just a huge waste of time. Although we do now know that these fabrics seem to be climbable, but are highly unlikely to ever actually be something you should focus on climbing. Alright, let's move on. Yeah, I would definitely want to see an upgrade that causes you to climb faster. Like climbing ladders and poles specifically faster. Because otherwise I just don't know if there's any way to avert those locations or skip climbing a pole. We can hear a chirping sound. We can see it's up there. So I guess the question would be, can we get up there? Yeah, I just don't see a way that you can get up there. It seems like you would have to come back later and collect that. Just walking to this guy will just start that quest. Yeah. So unless there was some way you can get up here like that, and then get up here like that, I definitely can't deny the fact that I enjoy this ideas of being able to just transverse around, and that was a different way to do it. Find things on more vertical of a environment compared to most open worlds that are very much horizontal and flat. Although I do think for most part most games should be horizontal and flat. There was a crane in the first game. I imagine we'll interact with this crane at some point in the future. Because you don't have the problem that we're going to see over and over again with me falling and taking damage in a more horizontal and flat area. With the help of your glitchware Nomad sent you, you're able to get through fans around Zephyr Station. It also has some new scheme in works involving the conglomerate. If nothing else, you can always count on him to get you into trouble. Talk to him, see what's cooking.
So what's
It's kind of weird.
Heard you ran into
They-
Gabriel Kruger.
It's asking you whether you want to start the cutscene
Yeah. Look,
instead of just starting the
Kruger's
cutscene.
saying that they're going to clamp down harder on the runners, and they're setting up those huge antennas all over the city.
Someone should clamp down on them.
Great minds think alike. I'm thinking Krugersec would be rather upset if someone wrecked those antennas.
And by someone, you mean me.
Hey, I do it myself, but you were always the fighter, Faye.
Sure. But let's keep Noah out of this, okay?
No worries. I'll keep a lookout from here.
So these antennas are basically like towers, but not towers that you would climb to get a higher advantage, more just like towers that
So you going?
might
or what?
reveal
Someday
more
you
things
can
on the
teach me how
map.
to fight too, and I'll do this myself.
And this guy might be a spy working for a different conglomerate corporation against Kruger. Man, I totally screwed that up. And I just got shot. Notice how the audio just like really goes quiet, and when you're about to die, and they consider you about to die even if you have just like 2 bars of energy missing. So I imagine we'll start doing more of this.
If I just wreck this out. It's shutting down.
Yeah, count one for the good guys. In case I get sending reinforcements, you should clear out fast.
And now in K-Sect alert, you're hunted, outrun the K-Sec forces on the visibility or hide in a safe house. Alright. So. This is the way in which they're going to introduce the idea of
Get away from their scanners and they'll lose you eventually, Faith.
of getting you away from certain areas. That should just be enough to get out of their range. Although, even though I'm out of the circle, it seems like they're still, storyline-wise, going to decide to chase me for a while. That gave me 500 experience. Another EA Origin pop-up and achievement and all. Alright. So, user-generated content, time treats, and beat LEs are user-generated content, UGC. Now show on the map in the world to try your friend's challenges, or press right to create your own where you stand. Alright. So, this is a beat LE. And I guess it gives a general circle or area of where it would be. Unfortunately, that's not content made by the creators of this game. So I am going to just say absolutely no to that content. Let's go see if we can find some options to turn off user-generated content. Gameplay. There you go, user-generated content. Bookmarks, friends and bookmarks. I'll leave it at friends and bookmarks since I don't really have any friends on Origin anyways. And we'll leave it at that. I don't want to get distracted, potentially finding quests or doing quests that would be challenges from other Mirror's Edge Catalyst experts or players, but really cannot fairly be evaluated, or shouldn't be part of the evaluation as to what this game really is. Inherently, this is a fairly old game, so it's nice to see that the user-generated content hasn't yet been shut down, but there is also no guarantee that it won't be shut down. And if I'm just going to take the stories going forward and not try to do any of the dashes at the moment and just upgrade our attacks, we might as well look for main stories. We could go and do this break and entry, I guess. We could go back and talk to Birdman, I guess. What is the key? Map legend is right stick. The main quest is the one with the triangle with the white circle in it. I could have also simply just turned off time trial, beat LEs and other players. And I suppose if there are supposed to be other players here, I'm not seeing any. I wouldn't be surprised if there is actually only like 10-20 people playing the game at any one time these days. And it seems like we'll just unlock these basic kits all the time at different safe houses. So as we start to potentially get all the things done, I imagine we will unlock more custom elements, basic kits, and we'll just teleport from safe house to safe house to collect those. And hopefully they would just pile up and we'd still be able to get them all, and that they wouldn't limit the experience. Right. This is funny, I feel like I'm going a different direction. I guess we could just look at the info. So Yeah, they're gonna have us go this way, which I took a side quest going that way already. One of the things to probably take from this, though, am I going to be able to climb up these like little vents? No. Am I going to be able to climb this rain gutter? No. Yeah. Let's see, is there anything else around here to collect? Just that. It's very possible I'll finish the main story and not have interest in doing any of the side stuffs. The spray painting is more reminiscent of, say, was it Jet Set Radio? Where Jet Set Radio had you on skates and spray painting a lot of things. The original Mirror's Edge did not have any spray painting. It doesn't fully make sense if you're also hacking digital signage that you would bother to spray paint, but it kind of makes sense.
I'm trying, but what is that?
Art, Faith. Art.
Yeah? Could have fooled me.
Funny. Did you just come here to crush my self-esteem, or are you up for some actual work?
Sorry. I'm up.
Good. Word is Kruger Arms are developing a new type of drone sensor chip. I'm thinking we should grab one for ourselves, but there's the question of where they keep it.
Somewhere in Kruger Arms, maybe?
You're all wits today, huh?
Let's move the camera here.
Who promised he'd sell me some docs with the info, but now he's reneging on the deal. So I figured you could just break into his place and grab them instead.
Sure. Shouldn't be a problem.
Cool. I'll send you his address. It's not far from here.
You would think that spray paint and paint in general would be a highly controlled resource in this kind of universe, like to the point where they may potentially not make spray paint at all, since everything seems to be painted white.
The guy works for Kruger but hates his job. He has access to a lot of stuff. Said this sensor chip is a real game changer. But I guess he got scared of being found out. Hopefully he'll still have those docs at home.
Okay. So it would almost make more sense that they would have to make their own paint if they were going to do this, or that they were stealing impounded paint from some facility from 200 years ago. Paint probably dries out. Spray paint probably dries out in less than a couple of years, though. So it doesn't quite make sense as to why it would still exist. Same is true for their fashion and their outfits. Like, it seems like this is not a late stage totalitarian dystopia where everything is controlled. It seems to be in the process of working its way towards that. Which arguably, if you were playing a game where it was a late stage dystopia, there may be no chance of undoing the damage that's already done. That would be fairly believable. Let's see. Do we really need the description when we just saw the cutscene? It seems very redundant. Kruger Arms are developing an improved drone sensor chip, and Nomad feels this will cause trouble for all off-grids living on the rooftops. So everybody on the rooftop is an off-grid, or at least most of them are. Through a contact, you set up a deal with a guard working at the facility who promised to sell some documents with more information, but the guard has gotten cold feet and Nomad asked you to break into his apartment and steal the docs instead. The guard lives at the top of an apartment building. Make your way there, find a way inside, and steal the documents.
His apartment is on the top floor. Should be an easy climb yourself.
Interesting that they turned off runner vision. Seems like it oddly goes off. Right when you would kind of need it to work. So I have no idea why it took that much to get there. Is that because some kind of drone flew over the flew up in the air and shut off my runner vision, or what? This wants me, I guess, to go down.
I can get in through that fan, but I need to shut it down.
Should be a control panel somewhere close.
Just fall. Then we have electrical switches. Which
Alright,
again,
it's off.
with the level of
Got us on the
technology
top
that's
floor.
being depicted, it's hard to believe that it would just be power switches. Of course, that would be also content that could have been used in a different EA game, if there were different EA games. Yeah. And you'd have to pretty much assume that any programming, any like ideas developed in Mirror's Edge Catalyst
Gets you wondering how many more
might
of those
be
Kruger goons don't like what they're doing.
um,
On the other hand, I guess most people feel like they don't have much of a choice.
like almost anything programmed for this game would probably be out of date if EA announced that they were going to develop a new game tomorrow, in like 2023. Yeah. So there is this continued investment you have to do if you're going to continue to run a business, where you need to be constantly developing new engine technology, new parts of games, things that can be shared between multiple games if you're a big enough company to make multiple games.
Whoa, that's quite a jump.
That is Kruger. Yeah. And looks like you probably could run around and down here for a lot to find something else. But these little doors don't stay open, then they reset. And that door did have Kruger Sec on it, which means some of these doors are punchable, but maybe it's only on the other side that they're punchable. I'm going the wrong way, obviously. And then it just ends down here, no secrets, anything like that. And it doesn't feel like there would be a way to jump around and up this stairwell to move faster. The story is covering an important point to realize is that probably most of the people in Glass City would like to see change and aren't actively trying to support the conglomerate or Kruger Sec, but it's for revolution to happen of any sort, it requires people to
Balcony. But I can't get in
really
from here.
Try the roof.
really sacrifice a lot, and a lot of people are not brave enough to sacrifice their lifestyles and their comfort, or just capable of sacrificing their comfort. So are we on a window cleaning elevator, it seems? Again, kind of modern day technology juxtaposed by what isn't so much modern day technology. Although we could certainly build a city with a Manhattan style screens all over the place. We haven't. Oh, well, we haven't completely. Maybe there might be some places in the Middle East that frankly don't look too different from this. Oddly seemed to bring me up an incredibly small amount, and then left you to recognize that you have to jump the rest of the way. Again, we have a whole bunch of stuff here. You have a whole bunch of towers and what look like cell phone towers. And just a lot of stuff that you would have to potentially jump over. Except for this middle area that feels like it might be a boss fight area. And that looks like a power switch. Right. So how do you interact with it?
Found a way in.
I knew you would.
You fall on the bed. So the security guard, now we can break out, has this almost completely white room. And then you have these nameless cans. And then you have what looks like a realistic looking computer and books and coffee. Yeah. So it kind of feels like it's a case, I can't open that door, that we're in some weird timeline where most of the time, it's for the most part modern time. When this game would have been made, would have been the era. And there's just a few bits of technology that are different. The grid being specifically it, and then the political stasis. This minimalist. I mean, this looks really nice. Maybe there isn't a lot of stuff. You'd almost assume that the conglomerate would encourage purchasing a bunch of stuff and keep people in debt, but like the concept of personal property here seems to be fairly minimalistic, or at least the concept of expressing yourself seems to be oppressed quite a bit. But the security guard definitely does not feel like he's struggling in his lifestyle.
All right, I got them. Time to.
Want to show up and... I told him the deal was off. You're forcing me to call for backup.
The guy just showed up.
Okay. So we jump and slide.
Got the goods.
I knew you could do it. Come by later and we'll have a look at what you got.
Aren't you really protecting the guy?
Better stay out of sight for a while, Faith.
She alone. What's this?
We're up to 2 levels of damage that we do, and you can see I'm still struggling fairly highly to take out 2 guys.
Runner identified, Control. Subduing.
There we go. Got shot for my effort. And we'll slide down. Didn't nearly fall off in the process. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like combat is improving much. 3 light attacks on the stumbling or stunned opponents. Gives you a stun advantage. Increased damage for heavy attacks against opponents' backs. Which, if we get some kind of boss fight, that might be really important. I think we need quick turn, though. Like, I'm finding it pretty bad to not have quick turn. Right bump does a 180-degree turn now, where I don't think it really was doing much of anything otherwise. Now we have a side mission of drone works, which would take us back this way. And fighting with Kruger now probably is as good as fighting with Kruger later. So I'm not particularly concerned around the idea of avoiding these side missions. Although I wouldn't be surprised if what happens is that the drone information we get leads to no real change in the status quo, and it just gives us some information that he'll be able to act on a theoretical sequel or later on. Definitely feels like there could be some struggle around running around back and forth. He's painting the exact same texture in a different place. I guess I didn't need to actually be there. I just needed to talk to him from here, I guess.
Hey, let's have a look at those docks.
You kind of save the guy by robbing him. You save his job and
So,
take suspicion
what
off
did
of
you
him.
make of the info?
That new sensor chip spells trouble.
My thinking too.
Seems they're working on a new drone in the labs department of Kruger Arms. Maybe we could snatch the chip from there.
You mean maybe I could snatch one?
Yeah, you know, I would, if I could.
Again, the camera
Fine. I'll
feels
do it.
like
Great. I'll stay with you on comms.
it's not centering as well. I don't know why Nomad is specifically not being capable, being allowed to take on any of these missions, but it would also be fairly boring if they did. Let's set the definition or the destination.
It's the building with the big Kruger Arms sign on top, on the upper floors.
So I set the quest to the hackable billboard, so that's what I assume he's talking about there. And that he isn't pushing me towards the main side quest. But he might have, because I have noticed previously that the audio seems to queue up fairly quickly. Yep, this is just slightly further from where we were. Alright. Let's just jump up here. Just so then we can... I guess we'll jump up here to reach that. Seems like you cannot turn around the ledge here. This would be fairly slow. Yeah, I wonder about these towers, whether there's going to be a lot of them, or whether we're going to find that there's a fairly small number of them throughout the game. Right. There we just heard them threaten the employees if they access propaganda or anti-Kruger sentiment. Yeah, it does seem like they are still giving me the dialogue for that side mission. So I must be technically in that side mission. Alright, so if I did this, I can jump like that and do a 180. I don't know if we're quite to a point where that needs to be used. We may not use that as a skill that often anyways. Right. So you can easily fall to your death. I was hoping that I'd be able to fall and hit the pipe and turn around, turn to the side, but no such luck. Right. This map is not making it particularly obvious where you would go. I guess these might be solar panels or cooling stations or something. Yeah. I don't think there's something as crazy as you need to go up here and then do a 180 to go back and forth. You may just not be able to reach the goal. You may not be able to reach up there until you have either some kind of ability to climb on a rope upward, which that might be some ability that we get in the future, is that you'll just have a machine that lets you go up the rope, or just the grapple ability. I don't think we need as much of the sound effects when you fall to your death, but whatever, it's better than screaming. Certainly I've seen worse instances of people accidentally lovingly animating the death of the main character. The Tomb Raider reboot, the first game in that series, was kind of notorious for doing that. Like every time you died, there was a custom animation practically showing off. It might be a case that this Kruger door just unlocks at some point. You just never know, there might be something lower. Was that something that just crashed? Like a drone crashing? Or are these just birds? Like, I definitely hear a sound effect, but I don't know what that sound effect is. And that's happening a lot. Arguably, I should probably turn up the audio in this game. There's a crane. And you can see something blinking far in that direction. Another door. well, I have to just assume that I just can't reach that. And I'm kind of assuming also that what's going to happen is we will go into an apartment without actually going into a full level, and that the main story will be the only time we go into full levels or full buildings. And each of these little side quests are probably going to push us a little bit further in directions. I don't know if that still really is going to be enough, though. Unless there's a lot more side missions that happen later on to get you to go back to locations in the second half of the game. It definitely does feel like you're going to spend most of your time going from point A to point B and not having all the skills or items needed to fully do an investigation of, as far as all the collectibles in an area. The new sensor chip is being developed by Kruger Arms. Definitely spells trouble. Nomad thinks you should try and steal a chip and sabotage the project somehow. And you agree. You're going to find a way into Kruger Arms, locate the lab where they are working on the chip, and steal or destroy whatever you can find. It won't stop the chip from being developed eventually, but it'll significantly delay things.
Find a way inside.
So this one feels like it's going to go up a little bit more, but not much more. And so these windows are going to be, these window cleaning units are going to be like checkpoints and gates. And here is our first time in which we've actually been able to just see ourselves in an actual mirror. And even in that instance, it's not particularly reflective or visually polished. Now, I should just end the episode here, starting this mission, but I suspect that this mission is actually going to be fairly short. So, I'm willing to just try and experience it. And there's a real question as to whether do you need to run. And I'd expect what you find in here is either you're going to just find a chip to steal a break, or you're going to find like that the chip is actually a kid's brain or something.
Check engineering first. They should have something there.
Nope, this is straight up inside the building, so I was wrong as far as so it may just
Found a note. It says the chip has been installed on a drone in the demo room.
That's a few floors up. Find an elevator.
interesting. I didn't have to actually collect anything there. I don't.
Underneath! Now! Fine. Is she? Control, we have an intruder. She shouldn't be here. Control, intruder alert.
There we have another frame drop. And I'm still not thinking that's my computer. I think that's just weirdness in this game being a little less than smooth. Because here's our first elevator with mirror reflection. They're playing that gimmick way too much. What we're not seeing here is any news being played in the elevators like the first game. And I would imagine, unlike the first game, the loads could potentially be a lot faster or slower as you go through elevators, depending on your specific hardware. So, what is this? A demo gun? I feel like it's gonna start shooting at me. Running around round rooms is a little weird.
It's getting away.
Go after it. We need that ship.
So you seriously? Are now just chasing the drone, which this may be the introduction to just a new gameplay mechanic. And I imagine it would just speed up and you can't catch it. You could certainly create this in such a way that it would go in a circle and you do have to actually race it. But I don't think that's probably the case because I get annoying.
Jump on and grab it. We can handle your weight.
Yeah. So we may get drone sequences where we're just straight up flying. Holding on the drones.
I got the ship. I'll give it to you later.
No rush.
That's a different
Just the
experience.
fact that Kruger Arms lost it should cause them a lot of trouble. You're the best, Faith.
Oh, don't gush.
And I guess maybe they phrase that as steal or destroy it in case there was some concern that this breaking like this was a fail scenario. Yeah. It's kind of funny that the Kruger sects seem to leave people alone on the rooftops when it would make a lot of sense for them to potentially just lobby to pass a law that anybody on the rooftop is immediately considered a criminal and arrest them all or shoot them all. I don't expect to see a ton of drone stuff, though. I imagine we'll have at most 4 or 5 sequences in which we end up chasing drones. Here you have like these like blindfolded guys. Like what's going on here? Let's see. And this isn't telling me that this is the way, but it feels like it's the way to my goal. Getting to the top of this hackable billboard. Then you have to stand directly in front of it to hack it. And you'd almost think that other players could come in and hack the billboards back. But then you couldn't really gain XP for hacking something and then hacking them back, then hacking them back. Like you could have 3 players just XP grinding that way. It's weird to have screens on your little cell phone tower. Alright. So yeah, we are still mostly ignoring everything. And I'm not sure we ever fast traveled here to collect that. And we have this Birdman quest. And then we have this main quest. So would it, on one level, it probably would make sense to just set this as the next point, since that's the only side mission it looks like you could do, or that's the only main mission. And you might find some more grid leaks doing that, and that would be the right way to play. Fast travel. Not available. Hack the nearby grid node to unlock fast travel to the safe house. So, yeah, I have not hacked any grid nodes apparently near any of these safe houses, so I couldn't fast travel even if I wanted to. So, effectively, this has already been done. I guess that's not a grid link node. So there's something else. So I'm gonna have to go here and start this quest anyways, and at some point I'll have to decide to go back this way and do the side quest. And we still are in kind of a weird position where we're getting upgrade points fairly quickly, but if we don't move the story forward, we're not going to have too much we can really do with these points. The fact that this requires you to complete the story almost makes it feel like this story is incredibly short. But then you look at some of these other quests and gear items, and they're mentioning things, missions called Sanctuary and Savant and Benefactor. So there's at least 2 or 3 major main story quests left. But that might be it. As far as actual missions here, maybe this is a list of all the missions that happen in the game as far as main story missions. And if we've done 4 now, there might really only be about 15. And then as far as side missions, we now have done 2 of them, Break and Entry and Drone Works, which makes it feel like all the side missions may be somewhat connected. As far as runs, we haven't done any of that. And as far as intel, yeah, seems like there's a ton of intel that we would have to collect amongst all the many different types of collectibles in this game. So it still does feel a little scary, like this game may end its story mode and then expect you to spend 2 or 3 times as much time playing the collectathon minigame element without giving you any new story or any new actions or abilities. So one of those kits lets us change our echo, so we'll do that. But it doesn't seem like you can change your appearance. You would think for some of those things you've picked up, you would be able to actually change the way Faith looks. And that just hasn't happened. And I guess we have now gotten a tease as to this tattoo, but it does seem like you're going to end up getting the tattoo halfway through the game or maybe at the end of the game. Anyways, we've gone 10 minutes over. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.